Welcome, one and all, back for the second episode of Five Downs with Fannon. I'm your host, Spencer Fannon. There's my socials and my name, so give me a follow if you want. And since this is the second episode, I might as well give you once again a rundown of how the show works. In each show, there's going to be an overarching subject, and in this episode, it's about the SEC. I chose the SEC second because my first show was about the ACC, and that's because I'm going east to west. I'm not doing conference in rankings or anything like that, so SEC people don't flip out or whatever. I'm just going east to west. It's just an easier way to do it that way. And then inside each of those subjects, there's going to be 5 topics or downs. Now, you might be wondering, Spencer, there's only 4 downs in football, and you are correct, anonymous viewer. But as a Missouri alum, 5 downs has a hinky connotation for us Missouri alumni. In 1990, Colorado Buffaloes were playing the Missouri Tigers in football. And Colorado driving down the field late in the fourth quarter, the referees accidentally gave them an extra down or a 5th down, and in which they scored a go-ahead touchdown on that 5th down and ended up winning the game. And that helped them get to a split national title with Georgia Tech in 1990. So there's a quick little history lesson. Let's just get right into it with first down. All right, time for first down. And with first down, our first mini subject is pretty easy. Who's going to win the SEC? I mean, it's the best conference in college football, the deepest conference in college football. The coaches polls and the AP poll have been released. So actually, this is a one-man show, people, one-man show. So I'm going to bring those up because I got graphics. See, all right, so here's the top 10. Top 10, and then you got 11 through 20. This is preseason AP, as it says on the graphic. And then here's 21 through 25. And in there are 10 teams from the SEC that are a part of the AP top 25. Now, we're going to focus on the top 10 because that's really probably where most of, if not, of course, any of the teams that make the SEC title game are going to appear from. Texas, obviously ranked number 1 in the AP poll. They made it to the SEC title game in their first year in the conference last year. They lost to Georgia. Georgia, they're number 5. You got Alabama number 8, LSU number 9. You got 4 teams in the top 10. I honestly think, you look at it, Texas and LSU are the only teams, at least in the SEC teams, that are returning quarterbacks. Texas with Arch Manning, LSU with Garrett Nussmeier. Both are Heisman contenders this year. Arch is the odds-on favorite at this moment. Nussmeier, I think, is 4th or 5th. So that's a big thing right there. Alabama, I think, is gonna be a rebound year. Kalen DeBoer, second year at Alabama. In his second year at Washington, they got to the national title game, so you got that. Georgia, Kirby Smart. Now, again, SEC went away from the division, so they don't get that help right there. It's just the top two teams. But Georgia, they do bring back Gunnar Stockton and a very good team. But you got to see. So all this. My pick is I think it's actually going to be Texas and Alabama. I think Alabama is going to take a jump up this year. They went 9-4 last year, down year from last year. Even they lost Jalen Milroe, but I think that they're going to come back. They bring back a lot of players. I think they're going to get in, and I think Arch Manning is going to lead Texas back to the SEC title game. And I do actually think Texas is going to win it. So in their second year, Texas gets in. Another Big 12 team getting to the SEC title game in their second year. Where does that sound familiar? Oh, right, Missouri. Got in their second year. Now, yes, Missouri lost that game, but I think Texas will win it this year. So, former Big 12 teams representing the SEC. But, yeah, it's pretty quick there. The SEC is dominant. It's going to be a gauntlet. It really is. Again, you've got 4 teams in the top 10, in the AP top 10. You've got 3. You got 4 more in 11 through 20, and then you got 2 in 21 through 25. So this entire year, I can't wait. It's gonna be a great season, and everything like that. I do think it's gonna come from one of those top 4 teams, and I think it's gonna be Texas and Alabama in the SEC, playing in Atlanta come December in the SEC title. So that's first down. On to second down. All right, second down. As you can tell on the bottom, we're going to be talking Alabama. Alabama, they went 9-4 last year, a down year. They had Vanderbilt. They lost, I get the notes down here if I could read them. Tennessee and Oklahoma, and then lost to Michigan in their bowl game. Very down year for Alabama and stuff. Could have, if they had won one more of those games, one of their regular season games against Vandy, Tennessee, or Oklahoma, they're probably in the college football playoff. They beat instead of Tennessee, most likely. Second year coach Kalen DeBoer, he had a rough year for Alabama's sake, but they still won 9 games. Replacing Nick Saban is going to be difficult anyway. So, I mean, you never want to be the guy replacing the legend. You'd rather be the guy who replaces the guy who replaced the legend. But there you go, though. Kalen DeBoer has had success in second years. Fresno State increase. You had Washington, his second year at Washington. They got to the national title game. And in fact, he actually brings back his old OC at Washington, who Ryan Grubb, who was actually the OC with the Seattle Seahawks this past year in 2024. So it's going to be you bring that back. They do have questions at quarterback. Obviously, Jalen Milroe is now in the NFL. Have Ty Simpson, who's been in the system for a couple years now, and he is the named starter as of right now, as of the date of this recording. They do also have as a backup Austin Mack, who's actually transferred from Washington, so maybe some connection over there. It's still Alabama. They have 15 returning starters coming back. You've got obviously Ryan Williams, wide receiver. So he was a stud. I mean, he's only 19. How old actually is he? I want to get this right. He was 17 last year. I believe he will be 18. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. They do have to break in the new quarterback with Ty Simpson. Now, their first game, it's going to be interesting because it's not really a soft landing. They play at Florida State. Now, Florida State was awful last year. They went 2-10, but they returned a bunch of guys. They shouldn't have as many injuries, and they have a new offensive coordinator in Gus Malzahn. So it's like I think it's going to be much, and it's still a road game for the first start. So that's going to be an interesting test right off the bat for Alabama. They do play at Georgia. That's at the end of September. That's going to be a very difficult game. And then they play at South Carolina the end of October. So they've got 3 games at the end of the first 3 months of the season, all on the road. Those are probably the 3 biggest games of their season. They do play LSU, but that's at home. Play Oklahoma at home, Tennessee at home. So those are probably the 3 other games: at Florida State, at Georgia, at South Carolina, and then LSU, Oklahoma, and Tennessee are probably the biggest 6 biggest games on their slate. They do play Wisconsin at Bryant-Denny, so that'll help. But I do think that there are 3 games that it's not playoff or bust for Alabama, but they need to show improvement both on the really in the record. I mean, it is difficult to get better than 9 wins consistently, but it is Alabama. So you get to Alabama, you're supposed to win right off the bat. I do think actually they will. I said if you watched First Down, I think Alabama is going to get to the SEC title game. I think that of their 3 big road games that I mentioned, Florida State, Georgia, and South Carolina, I think that they win 2 of those 3. Probably Florida State and South Carolina. I don't think they're going to be able to go into Georgia and win, but I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a really good game. And I could see them. I mean, I could see them. Maybe they're 10-2 in the regular season. Like they lose at Georgia, and then maybe somebody slips beats them at Bryant-Denny. I mean, they've got LSU at home and Oklahoma at home and Tennessee at home. Probably not going to happen. So it could be 11-1, but I'd go 10-2 just to be on the safe side. And yeah, I do think that they will bounce back. They're not going to go undefeated, and I don't know. Who knows if they make a deep run in the college football playoff? But they will bounce back. They will win double digits this year. You will see an improvement under Kalen DeBoer, and I think Alabama fans will be happy that they've gotten back to that dominance of Alabama. Maybe not true national title, but who knows with the college football playoff. But they will win double-digit games. You will see improvement and such, and it'll be bounce back, if you want to call it, from a down year. So, but that's second down. So let's get on to third down. Time for third down. We got to talk about Texas and Arch Manning. I mean, it's probably the biggest story heading into college football and into the college football season. Can he live up to the Manning name is the main thing. I mean, it's going to be his third year at Texas under Sarkisian and stuff. So it's his first year starting. He got in a little bit last year and all that when Quinn Ewers got injured, but it's going to be difficult. You lost your three top pass catchers in Isaiah Bond, the transfer from Alabama, Matthew Golden, and Gunnar Helm. Ryan Wingo is your best returning receiver. I mean, he was a fantastic freshman last year and should be even better this year. So they got to really, and it's still Texas. They're going to be able to recruit. They do return. They get back a couple good running backs, so that's going to help. And Sarkisian's one of the best play callers in all of college football. But again, they only got one returning offensive line starter. They're actually only returning 4 offensive starters, 11 total of the 22. So that's going to hurt. It's going to fall on Arch a lot. He's the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. Last I checked, he was roughly plus 600 at several of the books and stuff like that. But I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. I mean, the schedule it does not help him. They start at Ohio State first week 1 of the season. You got to go to the Horseshoe, face the defending national champs. Now they're also breaking in a new quarterback too, but it's a road game. It's a little similar actually to Alabama, though Texas has got a much tougher road and all that. And also there's even the talk now, there's rumors coming out that Arch might not even come out after this year and stuff. I believe his grandfather Archie, NFL quarterback, New Orleans Saints, Ole Miss, he was talking, or there was rumors that he had said something to the effect that he was going to stick around another year. Who knows? I mean, if Arch Manning, if he leads Texas to the national title and he wins the Heisman, what really is there to prove to the rest of the scouts and stuff? I mean, sure, you could go back. I mean, with NIL nowadays, you're making a ton of money anyway, so you're making more money than you would as an NFL rookie. But I don't know. I mean, I do think Arch is going to play well. He gives Texas a little bit more mobility behind the line, which he might need because they only got one offensive lineman starter returning from last year. So I think it's going to open up the playbook a little bit more for Sarkisian, and that should send shivers down defensive coordinators' spines because Sarkisian, like I said, one of the best play callers in all of football, let alone college football. So I do think that he will. I hesitate. I don't know if it's going to be an NFL. I don't know if it's going to be a college football playoff title. I did pick Texas to win the SEC, and I do think that they do because that defense is still really good. They'll have enough plays. Sarkisian's a good enough coach to make up for. I say deficits and stuff, but I guess losses from last year. And I think Arch is going to make enough plays and everything like that. So depending on the draw, I could see Texas winning it all, but I'm not. Obviously, we're 3 plus months out from the college football playoff reveal. So who really knows about that? They were ranked number 1 in the AP, but they are an underdog on the road at Ohio State. Which is the first time I think they said in like 20 years that the AP number 1 is an underdog in week 1 and stuff, which is kind of nuts, but you're playing the defending national champs and you're on the road at the Horseshoe, which is one of the most difficult environments to play in all of college football. I've been there at an Ohio State-Michigan game, so I know how rowdy that place can get. So fingers crossed for Arch. It's going to be a tough landing spot, but I think from everything I've seen and heard, he's level-headed. He's cool, calm, and collective. So I think he's going to be pretty solid and pretty good going through it. And I think I don't want to know I don't think Texas will win it. they're gonna have a chance to. I picked them SEC title, and they'll get to the playoff. Obviously, I'd have to see how the bracket would break down for if I want to pick and stuff. So, but I do think Arch is going to have a fantastic year, and obviously, if he declares after the season he's going to be the number one overall pick, that might be the bigger question. It's like if he comes out. Like, to be honest, I think the only way he does if they win the title and he wins the Heisman. If he doesn't, I think he might come back for another year, learn more under Sarkisian, possibly get a little more seasoning, also make more money as a college player rather than as an NFL rookie. And there you go. But anyway, that's third down. We'll see how Texas does. On to fourth down. All right, fourth down time. We're back. And as you can see, we're going a little deeper now on this one with the SEC. Obviously, there are the four teams that are in the top 10 in the SEC in the AP poll. I'll bring that up really quickly right here. So Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. Those are the top four. I want to know: is there a team in that second tier that's not in the top 10 that's below everybody? Well, I guess not even in the top 10, but just below that first tier of Georgia, Texas, and Alabama that could make a run to Atlanta or even longer, even deeper into the playoff and stuff. First off, we're going to, of those teams, I should say, LSU is one. They're ranked number 9, so it's not really they're still top 10 preseason. You've got Oklahoma, who are ranked 18th. You've got Texas A&M, which are ranked 19th. You got South Carolina, which is ranked 13th. South Carolina is probably the darling of it because they have a trendy Heisman pick in Lenora Sellers, their quarterback, who burst onto the scene last year and stuff, who could be a trendy. I think he's like 21 to 1 Heisman odds and stuff like that. So who knows of that? But they're going to have a difficult schedule. But we'll go through these schools really quickly and stuff. We'll start with LSU because they were 9th in the AP poll preseason. LSU went 9-4 last year. They returned 16 starters, including their quarterback Garrett Nussmeier, threw for over 4,000 yards last year. They lose a couple of the receivers and all that. It's going to be they have a rough schedule. They start at Clemson on August 30th, week 1, number 4 Clemson. So that's right off the bat. You're going to have a tough game going. They play at Ole Miss end of September, and they play at Alabama at the start of November. Those are probably their 3 toughest games. Toughest games probably Clemson at Clemson at Alabama, and then probably might actually be South Carolina. They host South Carolina for homecoming on October 11th. Those are probably their 3 the toughest games. They also play at Oklahoma to end it, so that could be it's one of the teams. Also, we'll talk about it in this segment. Could be one of those teams that could make or break a playoff appearance, if not maybe even a dark horse SEC title game appearance. But it's going to be difficult. Brian Kelly, you got to prove it. This is his 4th year at LSU and all that, and they've done well, but not great to LSU standards and stuff. So this is that year. After this year, you're going to be breaking in a new quarterback and everything. So the stars kind of line up and stuff, but can they do it? Second team I want to talk about here in this segment is Oklahoma, another very trendy pick to bounce back. They played in a lot of tight games last year. They went 6-7 last year. They returned 16 of their starters, 8 on offense, 8 on defense. Jackson Arnold is back. They bring in John Mater, transfer. He actually has been in the news a little bit because of he's debunked that it was gambling. There were some, I guess, Venmo transactions that were labeled suspiciously, seeming like gambling, but doesn't seem like that they actually were. It was some type of supposedly an inside joke. So it's going to be interesting to deal with that. Brett Venables going to have that defense ready to go and stuff. They do have 3 tough games, all on the road at South Carolina middle of October, at Tennessee at the start of November, and then at Alabama the middle of November. So in a 6 week stretch, they play. I'm sorry, in a 7 week stretch from October 11th to November 15th. They play Texas in Dallas. They play at South Carolina the next week. Play Ole Miss the week after. At Tennessee. Then they have a bye week, and then they play at Alabama. So it's like that's a really tough stretch right there and stuff. So I don't know if they might be a lot of people are picking them as a trendy pick because they return a bunch of guys. They were injured a ton last year. I think like their entire receiving core was injured at points last year. But they didn't really have good quarterback play with Arnold. But I think that 5 game stretch of Texas at South Carolina, Ole Miss at Tennessee at Alabama, if they don't go at least 3-2 in that stretch, I don't think that they're going to have a chance to really make much noise in the SEC or in the playoff because they do finish up but against LSU at home. So it's like that's 6 really tough games from October 11th on to the end of the year. So it's like I don't know if if they win 3 or more of those games, that 5 game stretch, then yeah, they will definitely. I think they could, unless they fall apart in all the other places, they would be in a playoff contender at least for like that those at large bids, just because of the strength of the schedule and such like that. So we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm a Missouri alum, so I don't like picking former Big 12 opponents. I do think Oklahoma is going to be better this year. I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 9-3 regular season team, maybe 10-2 if they can win the other games, except for 2 of those in that 5 game stretch. But it's going to come down to that. So, but Sooners, I think you're going to have a much better year than you did last year. So you can hang your hat on that. And third team on this is Texas A&M. They seem to be always the team that is just everybody expects to do better. They went 8-5 last year. They returned 15 starters. They bring Marcel Reed, who showed a lot of flashes last year, a quarterback and stuff. So he's going to be back. Their defensive line is always really good. So all that, but I don't know. I don't trust Texas A&M enough and stuff, considering the history with them. They returned 15 starters. They got 3 tough road games at Notre Dame in September 13th. They at LSU at the end of October, and then they play at Texas to finish the season. So they've probably, they don't have a very tough non-conference. Notre Dame's the only really tough one. Their conference schedule is really, it's LSU, South Carolina, and Texas are the 3 toughest conference games. I could see them losing at Texas, at LSU, and at Notre Dame. So that's 3 losses. So probably 9-3 or worse this year for them. They're probably on the outside looking in for a playoff berth or maybe even a dark horse SEC title game berth. I just don't trust. I don't trust their quarterback enough. He only showed flashes last year, and I don't know if he's going to show enough this year. And they just seem to have that knack of, we're Texas A&M. We're going to get up for a game, but then we'll lose it a weird game, or we won't be able to match another team's intensity to win an important game. So there you go with that. And then 4th team on this second tier, I've got South Carolina. South Carolina, they were close to getting to the college football playoff last year. They were 2 points away from beating Alabama in Alabama last year. They went 9-4 last year. They returned only 12 starters, but one of those is Lenora Sellers, their quarterback, who's a Heisman dark horse, in my opinion. They got a difficult schedule for the most part. They play at LSU. Their road games are at LSU, at Mississippi, at Missouri, and at Texas A&M. So it's not the most difficult. They host Alabama, so that'll help. They host Oklahoma and stuff. So those are the two other more difficult conference games. But they play Clemson at the end of the year in Columbia, South Carolina. They play Virginia Tech to start the year. That's not much of a difficult one. So I mean, it's going to come down to the quarterback. I think that the quarterback is going to have to carry them so much that's going to be the question on everybody's minds. It's like, can Lenore Sellers make enough plays? They only got 5 returning starters on defense. The defense wasn't great last year anyway. So it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting and stuff. I think that, I mean, looking at their schedule, I think Alabama's better this year. I think Oklahoma's better this year. Clemson better this year, and LSU. I mean, that's 4 losses, 3 in conference. So you're probably not getting into the SEC title game with 3 losses. And I don't think you're getting to a college football berth with 4 losses overall. So I guess, looking back at this 4th down topic, I mean, really it's just LSU. It might be the only team that's not in that top 3 set of the SEC teams that can make a run to Atlanta. At least I think there's a chance that LSU and Oklahoma, depending on how that stretch of 5 games for Oklahoma goes, could make the playoff. But I don't know. I mean, it might just be a top heavy again SEC this year. So that's 4th down. All right, 5th down time. Let's go. All right, time for 5th down, and pretty easy topic for 5th down. How many teams do I think are going to make the college football playoff out of the SEC in 2025? I got 4. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and LSU. I think those 4 have a very good shot of making the college football playoff. Last year, in the first time of the 12 teams, 3 teams made it in Texas, Georgia, and Tennessee, and 3 teams were just outside it in Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. I don't think Ole Miss has lost their quarterback. South Carolina, I just don't know if I trust them enough. Tennessee also lost their quarterback, so that kind of takes them out of it. While Texas and Alabama are both bringing in new quarterbacks, they've both been with the program for at least a year. So that helps. Georgia and LSU are having returning quarterbacks coming back, so that makes it a lot easier. I mean, obviously, all 4 of those teams are ranked in the top 10 in the AP poll, or preseason. So that makes it pretty easy for them. Their schedules line up pretty well, also. So I could see. I just think that there's going to be 4 this year. I don't know if we're going to. I mean, last year you had. I'm trying to say, what is it? I think you're going to get 2 out of the Big Ten again. I think Notre Dame should get in, so that's 7. Obviously ACC. I think ACC gets 2, so that's 9. You got the Group of 5, so that's 10. Big 12 champion, and then there's one other one. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to come down to probably that 3rd place Big Ten team and the 5th place SEC team and stuff. I just don't know if I don't know if that 5th place SEC team is going to be good enough to get in. I mean, they might get in just because it's the SEC, but who knows? And everything. I mean, heck, it could. Yeah, I mean, 3rd Big Ten team probably gets in, especially if it's Oregon, considering they're ranked top 10 in the preseason. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it. I mean, it's a pretty quick end of the show. It's just 14. I think there's going to be 4 teams from the SEC that make the college football playoff. But there you go. That is the SEC show for this episode of 5 Downs with Fannon. I mean, once again, please let me know if you got any questions or ideas that you'd like me to discuss. Obviously, reach out. You can drop a comment down below, leave a like or subscribe, shoot a tweet at me or an X or whatever it's called now and stuff. But until next time, this is Spencer Fannon saying thank you again for watching.